Hey, 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 happy Freedom Friday, beautiful, beautiful friends. I hope you are doing well. I hope everyone is having a beautiful, beautiful Friday. And I am just checking to make sure that we are live here. But I wanted to hop on here today, and I have a special, special guest. As you guys are hopping on, say hello, say where you are chiming in from. We would love to hear from you. And unfortunately, I cannot see we won't be able to see your comments because we're on StreamYard. But I'll definitely, get back to you. Can you check for me, Jennifer, if we're live because it's not showing me? But I'm just going to keep talking. So I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about
You're good.
Okay, stepping into your awakening. So I don't know if you guys have been watching, but I've been doing lives with several people on their pages. So I thought I would do one on my page today. And just to talk about, a lot of people are really waking up, especially with everything going on in this world. And I've been on a really amazing personal journey myself, especially this year. And I know Jennifer has as well. So it's just really stepping into awakening yourself. Everybody has their own gifts, and you really don't. A lot of times we walk around asleep, and we really don't. We just kind of like go through life. We just kind of like drag our feet around, and we really don't know like what our purpose is, right? So a lot of people talk about purpose too, but is what you feel you're doing making you happy? Is what you feeling you're doing like effortless to you? So when I opened myself up to my personal journey and I discovered that I was carrying around these gifts and I started really listening, I'll call it for you guys my intuition, but it's really that gut feeling. When I really started listening to my gut feeling, life just started flowing to me and things started coming to me. And I was like, maybe I should explore these gifts that I think I've had my whole life. And I'll tell you a little bit more about my story in just a little bit here. But I want to introduce Jennifer, who's a really great friend. Recently had a mediumship session with me, with myself. We're going to talk about that too, because I know there's a lot of stigma around that. Growing up in a religious background, religious home, I know that you did as well. But can you tell me a little bit about, just maybe in 2 minutes, the journey that you've been on and how you've grown and how, you're kind of going through the process of discovering your own gifts as well right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny. I think everybody does things in such an individual way and trying to just find their way and somehow knowing, or, maybe you don't know yet, but somehow just knowing there's more for you than what you've endured. And I think that's what I came to several years ago. And my journey first started, honestly, where I was like, I'm so over medicated. I don't know how I feel. I don't cope with anything. I don't deal with anything. I can't wake up because I'm so over medicated. And anyway, I started seeking alternatives. I was like, there has to be a better life. There has to be a better way. And I started coming off all my mental health drugs, then found CBD. I was like, okay, I can manage. I have ups and downs and I have some stuff, but I can manage without being asleep for my life.
Right.
I can start to feel again and feel my body and feel myself again. And, it's been, I don't know, is it 3 years or or maybe that I've just really started this awakening. Really started with personal development, finding CBD, and then personal development just really took off for me. I found some people that I really connected with, and I just was so motivated because I could see other people who had suffered like me, and I was just like, come on, something is there for me. I know this, like, I'm not meant for this life. So that's kind of how it started for me. And the funny thing is I think so many people, and especially now, and I think that's one thing, maybe to talk about is so many people feel so lonely. So many people feel disconnected. So many people aren't sure where to take their next step. They lost their job. They don't know, okay, well, what can I do? Who am I?
Yeah.
And all of those things, that it leaves us so disconnected that maybe this is the time where we can go inward and focus on what we want.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. I just wanted to touch on a couple of things that you said. You know, being asleep is not, we're not just talking about spiritually, we're talking about physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, all of them. So physically, I went through the same thing as you. I had so many issues and I found CBD. That's kind of how we sort of, in a way, met too. You know, and it started feeling better. So then, okay, then the next step is let's work on, like, I always feel like everybody's fighting with their mind. It's a huge thing. We're always like fighting against our mind, but we have to go within, and that's what it's about, listening to your intuition or your gut. And, you know, a lot of people do feel alone, Jennifer, right now. And what I discovered when I discovered my gift, came into my gift with, and again, we'll talk about that stigmata. I'll ask you a question about that in a second, but stigma. We're not like that from the cross. But anyways, what was I saying with that? You know, when I came into my gifts, you know, like, it's really more about helping people. It's so rewarding for me. Like, I almost don't want to like charge people for sessions, for, you know, giving them readings, like mediumship, psychic readings, because it's so rewarding. It's been like such a joy over the last, you know, almost about 2 months now, just really getting into it, diving into my new business and helping people, because I have so many people coming back to me that they're like, and you too, you know, they're like, oh my gosh, I found out this, or I reconnected with this family member, and they're not feeling so lonely, because a lot of times with these readings, a lot of people are hurting these days, and a lot of people are feeling lonely, like you said. And so it's about helping them get to the bottom of that through like messages, through like their past loved ones or their spirit guides. And a lot of people have never connected with a guardian angel or a spirit guide before. And it's just, I feel like they're presenting themselves to people more as more and more people wake up, you know, like I said, embodying all 4 of areas in your life: mentally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and just feeling them is just so rewarding. So if you can tell me quickly, what when we got together for a couple of sessions, what it has done for you and how it has helped you. You don't have to go into detail about your reading, but just in general, like what it's done for you.
Well, first off, I mean, I think I'm just going to say, like, there was such stigma, and even Amy can verify. I had reached out to her and I said, yep, I'm going to do a reading. And then I wouldn't respond to her again. I couldn't. I was so scared. I was so scared of the stigma of it. I was raised in a very Catholic home. I led service my entire life as, you know, a musician. And there's so much stigma around it. And yet I'm so open. But I was so fearful, like, is it the right thing? What if there's something really dark out there because I've experienced some yuck in my life?
Yeah.
What if that dark energy comes through? And Amy, I finally, she reached out to me again, and then I told her what was wrong. Like, I was feeling kind of paralyzed with fear over it. Mm-hmm. She's like, there's no way. She said, I put protections around. Mm-hmm. I call for only your highest good, people who are out for your highest good to come. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, she, you know, I'm going to try. And literally that's like the first thing I experienced. And I think that's really important for people to know about you, mm-hmm. that it is a safe space. You're not going to allow somebody to come through for harm.
Right.
And that's a choice. It's not on your behalf. That's a choice to read that way. And I think some people maybe not understand that. So maybe you could say something about that. Could you?
Yeah, absolutely. That's perfect. So it's all about intention, really. So when people realize You know, as each individual person is growing and stepping into their awakening and, you know, what they can bring to the world, it's all about intention. So for example, like with myself, psychic mediumship, you know, people could use that for bad. And I think that's where the stigma comes in around that. I also grew up in a very religious background, so it was very suppressed for a really long time with me. And, you know, you could use it if you had a bad intention, you could use it for bad, but, you know, it's all about what your intention and where your heart is. And I just want to help people. So, you know, I do all kinds of protections with, you know, protection prayers and meditations, and, you know, sage is really, really good too. And going into it, so I'm having the intention for that person's highest good. And then I work with, you know, some people are kind of like, oh, angels, they're only like religious, like in the Bible. No, they're not. Like I work with the Archangel Michael, like on a daily basis to cut any negative cords. So if even though with all that protection, I kind of like go the extra mile, because if afterwards, I will make sure that there are any negative cords were cut, if anything at all touched during that session. And I think that's so important, because we don't want, you know, harm or anything negative to come through. It's just about really helping that person really heal and, you know, be able to, you know, get some clarity in their life, be able to connect more. And then perhaps, you know, if they're going to go on that spiritual journey after they do this healing, you know, they're going to take that next step and maybe figure out what their personal gifts are. And so I think it's also kind of setting an example, Jennifer, you know, for other people, because I want to, you know, ultimately not only help people heal, but help them step into their awakening or their gifts, right? That's the title of this. So how do you feel? Like, I know you're not completely there yet, but how do you feel that this is helping you step into your personal awakening and maybe your personal gifts, even if you don't know totally what they are yet?
Well, I don't totally know yet. Through, you know me, I got to think. I'm processing. Okay. I think the big thing is right now in my life, I had gotten to a place where it was like, I just was about there, but I just needed a few things. Mm-hmm. I needed to find out why the negativity was still around me. I needed to know why. I needed to know why that continued to happen. Mm-hmm. And through the reading, my spirit guide told me exactly. And cleansing my home with somebody who is close to me, she helped me figure out how to cleanse my home and remove the items and shift some things around in order for the good energy to vibrate in my home. Mm-hmm. Also, like, I don't know how much I should share, but when I share this on my page, other people will understand. I have lost in my life, and one person I absolutely needed to hear from and see me get emotional about was my mother.
Yes.
I lost her when I was young. Mm-hmm. And in the second reading, she did come. Mm-hmm. And I needed reassurance from her that she was proud of me, for Pete's sakes. And then through you and through the cleansing and through getting rid of these things that I've been holding on to that I couldn't do without probably the knowledge, because I didn't know. I couldn't place where it was coming from.
Yeah.
And now to be able to let that go, and then the discovery of HD, and just like, I don't know, I mean, I won't fully get into that.
Yeah, yeah.
But human design, like, totally made me go, I get it now. I get it. I get my life. It's making so much more sense.
Well, it's all kind of come in full circle for you now. Yeah. And that's so awesome to see. And like, one of the things, that's one of the things that's so rewarding for me, is just to kind of see people come full circle. And last thing I want to touch on before we wrap here is fear. You mentioned fear. Fear is the other thing that's holding a lot of people back, aside from the stigma with these gifts. fear is the other thing that's holding back. So a lot of people are like sitting here, you know, with everything going on too, or they're just sitting here in their life, they're alone, and they're just like paralyzed with that fear of moving forward, fear of, you know, experiencing their own awakening, their own greatness, you know, fear of taking that leap of faith to see what's on the other side, you know what I mean? And really, you just have to, again, that goes back to following your intuition, following your gut. And so you just have to, you know, trust life, that if you take that leap of faith, things are just going to start getting better for you, and you're going to be able to step into your awakening. I know it takes baby steps, but
that's one thing I want to say, Amy, about your reading, with me in particular, but I think something that maybe individuals should know about it too, is that even though I walked in with fear, and then I was able to calm once I heard, you know, the calling of, you know, we don't want negativity, we want all the positivity, we want all of that. And then also that it was reassurance from my spirit guide, from my mother, from the other people that showed, and all the hands and the auras that were showing that I was supported. I knew what I had to do, but it's the reassurance to step away from that fear to allow you to grow.
Yes,
like,
absolutely.
The way I've been living my life is totally counterintuitive to what I actually need. So what I think that's one thing that maybe people didn't understand. And I know, you know, we're going over time here, but I think that's important, Amy, to know that when you're doing a reading like that, and you're giving that reassurance for somebody to take that next step. So
absolutely.
In your life where you feel like you need a little bit of push to get you over the top of the hill, maybe a reading with Amy in a safe place is the thing to do, because I've taken like
Thank you so much for that. You're so kind. I'm so humbled by you and by everyone that I've been helping. And I really, really appreciate you for coming on here today and sharing just a little tidbit of your journey and your story. And maybe we'll do this again sometime. Yeah. So you guys, you know, if you feel, if any of this at all resonated with you, if you're just a little bit curious, even if you're afraid, you know, just take that leap of faith. Just message me, and I would love to just chat with you to see if this is something that could help you, because I would love to be able to help you take that step towards that healing process in the right direction. And, you know, I'm never going to push you into anything. So whatever comes to you is for your highest good, again, and it's going to, it can only help you grow and step into your true awakening. So, you know, with that said, I will, like I said, you can message me, or I'll drop my link to my business page below if you want to book a session with me. So my shameless little plug there, but I honestly am coming from like a good intention, like most humbling heart ever. And if you want to say anything else before we close out, Jennifer?
Yeah, just as a last comment, you know, if anyone were, you know, friends with you, whatever, and they're nervous about asking, you know, and they want to ask somebody who's had a reading, I am open to anyone messaging me. Amy can give you a way to connect to me to answer any questions. I would be happy to do so, because I would love for Amy to be able to share her gifts with you. And, you know, if you need that reassurance from somebody she's read, I'm happy to do that as well. So she's fabulous, and you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Jennifer. Why don't you just comment below so they have your full name when I'm done here? And then so you can reach out to either of us if you need some reassurance. So I appreciate you, Jennifer. I appreciate everybody who's watching. And again, we can't see the comments, but I will get back to you shortly. For anyone who's jumped on here, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a beautiful, wonderful Freedom Friday. go out there and do something great for yourself today and this weekend, and we will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.